All right, Coach Jeff here with longevity, fitness, movement enhancement techniques, or a MET, and this is for the glenohumeral joint, or in other words, it's the shoulder. This is just going to cover one aspect of the shoulder, or the scapulothoracic joint and the glenohumeral joint, which work together to provide movement and stability and so on and so forth. But this is specifically focusing on the glenohumeral joint, and even actually more focus on the sits muscles. Now, this can help improve mobility and stability, but it's probably not the only thing you're going to work on. That being said, this can be very effective. Okay, so just keep in mind there's other aspects of work that we need to do to improve joint mobility. This is a great starting point. Okay? All right. So I'm actually just moving this around a little bit. Okay, so we really want to start with, for me, I like to assess my range of motion at the current time. And for me, I am challenged with this movement. As you can see, I already there's my range of motion. That's as far as I can go. It really just stops, and then there's a slight bit of pain, not as bad as it has been in the past. Okay, so this is a great opportunity for you to see how this can work for you. Okay, so there's my assessment. I'm going to actually assess it while I'm on the ground too, just so you can see that. And then I'm going to do my reset. It's the first step of the corrective process, or enhancement process, or improvement process, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I want to just breathe. I'm going to do 10 breaths, and I want you to see. So here's my range of motion right now. This is my left shoulder. That's where it stops. Okay, just so you can see that. Now I'm going to do the breath work. I'll show it to you as well. This is your self check. I'm trying to do 90-90 here, and here's my range of motion. And make sure you're putting your hand here, so you can, if you feel you start to compensate by extending through the thoracic spine, you know that that's compensation and that's not true range of motion. So I'm going to come up, and that's where I stop. And you can see the distance from the floor. Okay? So I'm probably going to move this down a little bit more so you can see it a little bit better. All right. Yep, that's it. Yeah, about 8 to 12 inches. Also check the elbow, make sure the elbow isn't bending, or you're not going out this way as you go overhead, which I kind of want to do. I have to make sure that I'm careful of that. So now let's do our 3D breathing. I'm really going to focus into this lateral shoulder area, or lateral, not shoulder, but rib cage. I'm just going to breathe. Like I said, I'm going to do 10 breaths. That's 4. Got 4 more. You really want to make sure you're neutral, taking your time. You're not going to rush your breath work. Two more breaths. Okay, so I'm going to recheck and see how much help the breath work has given me, or improvement. So here we go. Okay, a little bit sore there, but I can actually touch the ground now just by breathing. It's not perfect. I still have a little bit of pain. So what happens next is we do the ball work, okay? So let's do that. All right, sorry, I forgot the ball. So I like to use a lacrosse ball. First muscle I'm gonna, so it's the sits muscles that we're gonna focus on. So the first one is the supraspinatus or spinatus, right? And right here's my upper trap. Underneath that, in the supraspinatus fossa, is the first S of the sits group, okay, or the rotator cuff muscles. So we're gonna work on that. Now I'll show you a couple things. One, you can take the ball and then like do the work here. And this one's a little bit harder to do. What I'm gonna do is turn you just a little bit so you can see this. And then I'm gonna take the ball and then work into the wall. And then I can just move my shoulder a little bit. It's a little bit hard to work on the sits muscle that way. So another way is maybe do upper trap, loosen it up first with a stick. And then take the ball, do the ball work, and I'll just hold the ball and work it. Better yet though, is if you can take your MFT fingers and then work, and you want this up because this puts slack on these muscles here. So I'll just rest it on something, and then we're gonna come in and go deep in there and work those muscles. And I'm just having a vaulted finger going across the fiber of the muscles. And I'm going to go all the way into as far as I can where the acromion process comes in and the spine of the scapula kind of meet. Okay, so that's the supraspinatus. The infraspinatus is way easier to work on, and the back of the shoulder blade. So supra meaning above, infra is below. And so you have the spine of the scapula here, it's coming across, right below it on the scapula in the infraspinatus fossa is your infraspinatus. So supraspinatus does this, infraspinatus does medial, or not medial, but lateral or external rotation, okay? This is abduction. All right, so we're just gonna take the ball and work on that scapula. And it's below the spine. Above the spine is your supraspinatus. Below the spine of the scapula is your infraspinatus. And then you're just gonna take the ball and work on it against the wall, okay? So I'll just work on that. I like to work on it with, I just place my hand on my head and work on that muscle. You'll find it. And it can be really tender, so be careful. If you find a spot that's pretty tender, you can hold it there, do some breath work, okay? So that's your infraspinatus. And remember, it attaches to the humerus. So you can go, it goes underneath the posterior deltoid, so you're going to actually work on the posterior delt as well. So come up posterior delt, okay? Third muscle is the teres minor, which is also a lateral rotator or external rotator of the glenohumeral joint. And it's right on the lateral border. So the edge of the scapula is right here. You're gonna work in there. There's the joint, and then here's my rear delt coming across this way. The infraspinatus is kind of coming underneath. All right, so I'm gonna work on that next. This one can be really tender too. So you find tenderness, just hang out there, breathe. I will take this hand and stabilize the humerus as I work on that one. I can also work on it up here, right on that lateral border of the scapula, posterior deltoid. Oh, there's a spot. Sometimes I like to add movement, so I'll just do internal external rotation, so that muscle's contracting and relaxing or lengthening while I have pressure on it. That's a different technique, but still a good one. You can also move this way and just start to release. Oh, I just had a release, felt a little click, and you might feel that. So that joint capsule, I think, released a little bit. Yeah, you'll see, you'll be amazed what happens after this. So I worked on the teres minor, and last is the subscapularis, which is the internal or medial rotator. And the hard part about this one is that it's on, if this is my scapula, it's inside, and then on the other side of that's my rib cage. So it's really not that accessible. The way I work on that is I want to bring the arm across and hang, and then I just shove it into the armpit. You don't want to go way too high, because then you have the axillary lymph nodes and a nerve bundle and vascular bundle there. You're going to be a little bit lower, and you're going to work in there, and I just do little circles. If you hit a spot and it makes your hands tingle, hands go cold, you're on that bundle, so just get off of it. Okay, yeah, I just felt another little pop, so my joint capsule is starting to release. Okay, so that's the 4 sits muscles. And then what you're gonna do is, after you complete this work, let's do our reassessment and see how much improvement you had. So let's see what that looks like. All right. And here, that monitors my rib cage, make sure it doesn't elevate and compensate. So I'm just gonna go boom. All right, as you can see, there was less hesitation in my movement, less compensation. There was definitely less pain. It wasn't perfect, still a little bit of pain. I think if I spent more time on this, it'd be a lot better. But that was, you know, I spent 15 or 20 seconds on each muscle. All right, so powerful work. Use this, especially if you have shoulder issues like I do, especially my left shoulder, or you just got some range of motion stuff we want to improve, and this will also help improve stability. I also do this work right before heavy pressing. So if I want to do a lot of push-ups, presses with kettlebell, dumbbell, barbell, whatever, or a lot of pull-ups and rowing work, I want to get these shoulders moving properly so I can do my pull-ups and all that kind of stuff and be safe and get the most out of them. Okay, so it's good before your workout. Also not a bad idea after your workout, to make sure you keep your shoulders nice and healthy. All right, so that's the glenohumeral joint for shoulder mobility. There's other things we need to work on. That's the starting point. All right, thank you.